Nebraska on Tap, the source for everything educational and informational about groundwater in agriculture. If you are an ag producer or a citizen of Nebraska, this show is made for you by the Middle Republican Natural Resource District.
Now it's time for our weekly show, hosted by Heather Disming.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on our very first show. This one is going to be a little bit of an introduction and what we're getting ready to get involved with. This is just a collaborated effort with anyone who has a stake in groundwater, right, Jack?
Yep, that's right. I think anybody in the state has an interest in groundwater management. Since the state has the most irrigated acres in the nation, everybody in the state has a definite interest. It's a collaborative effort. We're hoping to include as many people as we can as we move ahead with this podcast and the other efforts that we're doing. But the main thing is anybody that has an interest should be interested in listening to what's going on within the NRD system in the Middle Republican NRD.
Right, because we're trying to achieve a reach out to everyone with an interest in this because we should be using technology because those are our better methods of outreach as the years gain, 23, 24, 25. How are we advancing with this right now, Jack?
I think one of the best things to do is step back and look at what the NRD has done in the past, which they've been very successful in their outreach efforts, their information education efforts. In the past, they've done a lot of news articles, a lot of newsletters, a lot of information education with grade school, range judging contests and soil judging contests that are out there. The NRDs are great at doing that. And I think it's just time with the new technology that's out there, with podcasts, with other things, that we should actually be trying to reach out more than what has been done in the past. The Middle Republican has done a lot of innovative and new things in the last several years, technology related, that it's time to step that into the game of outreach and trying to do new technology and reach more people and try to do different things. And one of the things that we're doing is this podcast. And it's just like some of the business cards that you put together, Heather, just has the little, whatever you want to call it.
QR codes.
The QR codes doesn't have name, address, or anything. You scan the QR codes just like you do at a restaurant. A lot of times you'll have to scan those codes to get your menu. And so this is the same as you can scan those codes and go directly to our YouTube channel or our Facebook page or our website. And that's just something new and innovative that I don't know that anybody's really tried to see how many people you can reach doing that way.
Yeah, and we want to be successful for our listeners just because we want to reach more people in the state with education and outreach, like Jack was saying, and the accessibility of being able to be here on podcasts such as Apple, Google, Spotify, and then also YouTube, which is readily available to everybody, and then also any updates through our Facebook. So, I mean, there's just so many ways we can connect with our listeners, right, Jack?
Yep, that's right. There's that, and we'll be doing trade shows and other things. And there are a lot of people that start a lot of podcasts. Most of them probably never make it. A lot of them do. I know we have an employee that loves to listen to mass murder podcasts. Or we have some that like to listen to UFO podcasts.
Yeah.
Or different, and I know my son likes listening to hunting podcasts. So we're hoping that this podcast will help get the word out there on groundwater management because it is so important. And when you start thinking about technology and where technology comes with planting corn, fertilizing, all the data that we're putting together, even in the Middle Republican, that there's no reason why people aren't interested in that. The other thing that we're going to bring to the table is not just talk to folks in the Middle Republican. We're going to try to spread out and talk to others that are doing good conservation methods, good groundwater management methods, or even just new innovative soil moisture measuring methods. I know we've done a lot with AEM. We've done a lot with telemetry soil moisture probes on top of the other things that we're doing. Hopefully people that start listening to the program, they're going to be able to pick up maybe economics from Kansas or water management from the eastern part of the state or the northeast part of the state, or water quality from certain areas, and that we're just not going to limit it to what we're doing right here. And it's important to bring in that outside thought process or outside new technology or new ideas for our producers here in the Middle Republican. So it's real critical that we're successful in bringing the word to our producers so our producers can do the best that they can. There is so much history when it comes to compact, when it comes to water management, when it comes to declines in the water table, when it comes to water quality concerns, that it's incumbent on us as an NRD and us as NRD staff to make sure that the best and the most encompassing data that's out there is available to people to make decisions. You can't make a good decision with bad data.
Yeah. And, precision ag is just so huge, and it's all over the state when it comes to, pivot access from your app. You can be sitting on your couch and you can do that. Jack has been taking us on this journey in that precision ag department so we can get outside of our bubble, can help possibly other different watersheds picking up this same type of program that we're doing to help our farmers advance in that precision ag. And of course, we know broadband will be the big thing to help us get us out there too, because a lot of people are working on cellular data from their pivots. So I think this is great, Jack, and I really appreciate you being able to help us deliver this to everybody out here listening to us right now.
Well, I do think, and you mentioned broadband and different new technologies that come in, it's important to have the backing of our senators, our local senators, our U.S. senators, representatives, because they've helped bring a lot of funding in that's actually brought in the technology that helps make this work. We have found with our meter program, which you'll hear more about in later podcasts, but our meter program, we're using actual cell data, and probably almost 99% of our cell data actually works, where we were wondering, because we have a lot of hills and valleys here and we didn't know if the phones would really work, and it's actually worked really well. So as you move ahead with this, you can't make an assumption that you know what isn't going to work. You have to decide that you're going to do it. One of the things that we try to do here is if we have an idea in the NRD that we think something might work, we don't ask, can we do it? We ask, how are we going to get it done? And then that's led us to where we're at now, even with the podcast. And I mentioned earlier about all our existing programs NRDs had in the past. The soil judging contest, the tree program, the 5th grade program, the Envirothon, none of that is going to go away. We're going to keep promoting that and actually use this method to help even promote those even more. Let people know what we're doing with the tree program with the 5th grade. Let people know how the Envirothon works and the successes that have been with the Envirothon in the state of Nebraska and in this area. Soil judging contests, rain judging contests are all important. So using a podcast to maybe for you, Heather, to sit down and visit with some of the students and the impact that it has on them.
Yeah, and it will be great to reach the youth. We really want to do a show that's great for everybody between the ages of 10 and 90, that everybody's included in it and everybody is highly informed and educated on what we have going on here. Like Jack said, with all of our different programs and the programs out in the state, I'm sure a lot of people have been to conferences and everything like that. And so if you've never been to a conference, I am going to go do it for you. And then maybe next time I'll see you there.
And the other thing that's surprising is a lot of times people say, well, people might not have access to internet or email or anything like that. And with the new technology that's coming out with broadband, we find a lot of people in their 70s and 80s that are just in tune with the technology as anybody that might be 20 or 30.
Right.
Everybody's adjusted and they rely on that anymore to make their management decisions. So it's important for the Middle Republican NRD and for all the NRDs to make sure that information is available to anybody that wants to use it.
Yeah, and I'm going to be a great source for them too, so they can make sure that they keep up with everything that we do have going on, because some stuff comes as fast as lightning and some stuff's a little slower, right?
Always. We always want stuff to happen as fast as lightning, but it never happens that way.
Yeah. So, well, we'll see you guys next time on our next show. And I hope that you take a good listen to everything that we have to offer here at Nebraska on Tap, brought to you by the Middle Republican NRD.